to say.
What's good, everybody?
And
Don't
I got
forget to
something to
subscribe to us on YouTube at Wrestling
And I
with
got
Things, and
something
like
to
our
say.
Facebook page
Let's
at
start the
Wrestling
show.
with Things. David Joseph, joined by the usual suspect, Sammy Joseph. We're usually joined by our guy, Eleno, but he will be back next week. He just had a beautiful newborn, and he is taking time. Shout out to Elijah, Eleno, the whole fam, yo. I hope they're having a very good time right now, bonding for real. He's beautiful. Yep. But let's get into the NBA playoffs, man. I don't know about you, Sammy, but I'm having fun watching these playoffs. I really am. More fun than I have been in the last few years, which I wasn't expecting.
It's been great.
But let's start with dissecting this second round a little bit, because we haven't given the second round that much love.
Which side you want to start with?
Let's start with the West side, which unfortunately the sides of the bracket are lopsided. You know, you got Portland and Denver. Even though, okay, let's be honest, even though the second round's not over, I think we could pretty much, unless something catastrophic happens, you never know, Denver's going to beat Portland, and Warriors and Rockets is the only one we don't know.
Yeah,
but
for a fact, yeah.
I'll say Denver's going to beat Portland, and Milwaukee is going to beat Boston, and Toronto is going to beat Philly, for sure. So, what are your takeaways from this second round, man? Whether it's has to do with Portland and Denver, Philly and Toronto, what are you gathering from this second round?
A lot of disappointment. A lot of disappointment. I'm gonna start with Boston.
Oh God,
man, Boston.
Sorry, Boston fans.
Listen,
you guys got to be honest.
I'm upset too because
I am. I picked them before
on this podcast. I picked them too.
And we were right here, yeah.
And I said Golden State. Yeah, I said Golden State and Boston because I expected them with the deepest amount of talent, with the star. I expected everything to click together and for them to be better than they were last year. I mean, it's really upsetting. How is Kyrie really looking at himself right now? You're going to lose in the second round, and last year without you, they went to the Eastern Conference. So,
no matter what, even though we know him as he's a star, it still looks like it's a you thing.
It looks
that's
like
the problem.
It looks like you didn't enhance it, and that's the biggest takeaway. And on Philly, they made all these moves this year. They got 4 All-Stars on their team, and Joel Embiid has the most help he's ever had, and he can't even, be neck and neck with Toronto, which is fairly a new team as well. So I don't understand, what type of brand of basketball do these dudes want to play? Do they want to play money basketball, or do they want to play championship basketball? Because it's looking like a lot of them just want to play money basketball, and they don't want to get to the goal.
Yeah, honestly, this Celtics situation is one of the more disappointing, and it's kind of perplexing and confusing, because it's like, if you're being totally unbiased, if you look at collection of talent, strictly talent across the roster, they're the deepest collection of talent. But I think that's, on the flip side, that's their biggest problem all year, and it went over into the playoffs, is that all they have been is a collection of talent, a collection of potential, a collection of young players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown draft picks. You collected everything. You were collecting draft picks, collecting supposedly young studs that let's be honest, we overrated them up to this point. Jason Tatum's overrated right now. Now, today, he's overrated. I'm sorry. Jaylen Brown's overrated.
It's fair to say.
Marcus Smart, great defender, great bench player, but the value within a team and with expectations now, they're not fitting together. And it's one of the weirdest things, because we all know that they're also talented. Even Gordon Hayward, to a lesser extent, we all know what they bring to the table, but because a big reason is because Kyrie might have one foot out the door, but they're just not gelling the way they're supposed to.
But what I'm interested to see too is, how is Kyrie gonna bounce back from this? Is he gonna just throw in the towel and say, "Hey, I want to get easier rings and be with a Durant or a Kawhi, or back with LeBron in LA"? Is he gonna do that and quit, or is he gonna stay where he is and ride it out the Kobe way?
That is the interesting takeaway. What
do you think he's gonna do? Because I'm interested.
If I had to go with my gut right now, I'm gonna guess that the only way he goes the Kobe way and says, I'm going to give Boston another run. Like, I asked away from LeBron. I'm in a pretty good situation, even though it didn't work. The only way that happens is if they somehow get AD. I think that's the only way. But other than that, I see him leaving, possibly to the Knicks. I wouldn't be shocked if if he felt bad for LeBron and was like, oh, I'll be your number 2 again. But I think it's crucial after a disappointment like this for the Celtics to be like, you know what? Maybe Jason Tatum actually is overrated. Maybe Jaylen Brown's overrated. He shipped them for AD. I wouldn't be mad at the Celtics.
I wouldn't be mad
at that because they're showing you what they are.
They underachieved.
They're underachieving.
At the end of the day.
So you gotta try something different. But my takeaway mostly from this second round is, I know it sounds crazy, but the Denver Nuggets are gonna be forced to be reckoned with for the next 3 to 5 years. I think they play so well as a team. I think
they do.
Nikola Jokic is transcendent. I know his game's not exactly flashy. He doesn't have an NBA prototypical body, but he could pass, he could shoot.
Yeah.
He's a decent defender. He's not awful. And he really does make everybody better. Like, these guys wouldn't, not to take anything away from them, because they have a lot of players that I like. Gary Harris, Jamal Murray. But the way he finds them in their spots, they wouldn't get looks like that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's another takeaway from these playoffs. Jamal Murray's becoming an up-and-coming star point guard.
And not to cut you off, I think Jokic just solidified himself as the best big man in the league.
Yeah.
By this
Good point. Good point.
Because
that's excellent.
Because
excellent.
He's on the Western Conference.
And Joel Embiid's getting nicked up because no matter how good
he's playing with stars. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid is playing with stars.
And let's be honest, he's not getting healthier going forward. And Evan Towns is an underachiever.
And everything is an excuse with Joel Embiid too.
He's low and mature. That's an excellent point. Nobody's saying that.
I think he might be the best center. I think he just solidified it. He's about to go to the Western Conference, and he finished as the 2nd seed. That's solidifying it. And he's not playing with another certified all-star.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of borderline. They're pretty good players, but they're borderline, and they can shoot.
Exactly.
But nobody's
not
really
credible
eye-popping
all-stars.
and amazing like who he's playing with. He's playing with Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, who they were calling
guard.
They were calling a young king.
Light.
Come on, man.
Yeah, people definitely jumped the gun, and I actually liked Philly, but that really is an excellent point. When you put everything into account, you take away the immaturity, the injuries of Joel Embiid, and what the way they're producing. Jokic he solidified it.
He solidified it.
The best center. But let's move into the next round. Like we said, we could pretty much see more, except for Rockets Warriors. But let's start with them actually. After the last 2 games, are you starting to feel like maybe Houston might be inching back to form that they were last year, and they might be able to sneak away with this?
No, even after these 2 games,
I'm really shocked about that.
No, I have no doubt in my mind Golden State's gonna win.
Let me tell you why. And I'm gonna be honest. I love new NBA champions. I appreciate and always respect dynasties.
I'm dying. Don't get me wrong. I'm dying for Houston to win.
I respect dynasties. No hate, but I've been watching every dribble of every game of this series, and I know you have too. Golden State is at a point. I still think they're the favorites because I'm going to give them that respect, and nobody beat them yet. But Golden State is at a point where literally KD, Steph, and Clay have to play like 40 to 44 minutes because the bench. Yeah. There's a difference between a bad bench and a straight D-League garbage bench. McKinney, Looney, Quinn Cook.
Yeah, they're horrible.
When we're watching these games, as soon as they get a minute on the floor, James and Chris and Eric Gordon have someone to attack on the pick and roll or take to the rock. It's crazy. Like they're there for a few minutes and then they always have someone to attack. The bench doesn't have the luxury. I know those guys are still great and it's still arguably the best starting 5 of all time, even without Boogie. But the simple fact is they don't have the luxury to chill no more. I'm not saying they weren't working hard, but they can't chill. They can't pace themselves. They're being in Houston. The one thing they do right, I don't like their style, but the one thing they do right in the playoffs is they make sure to get the switches they want, and they don't let Curry coast on defense. Because when you let him coast, that gives him a chance to have his energy for offense. They don't let him breathe.
That's
They're
true.
all over him. They're all
That's
up
true.
in him. P.J. Tucker, great playoff performer. He don't get enough credit. I think Houston has a chance to win this in 7, and I'm not being a prisoner at the
No,
moment, man.
but listen, this is exactly why I have no doubt in my mind that they're gonna win this series, because everything you said is 100% true. They can't. The bench is just flat.
It's
flat.
one of the worst.
It's like flat soda.
And Iggy's pretty much done. I know he had a good game 1 and 2, but they're not getting great.
Yeah, but he doesn't have your legs no more like that he used to have.
Yeah, he's old.
But the reason why I have no doubt is because even despite all that, all the games, Golden State has been up, and then next thing you know, Houston comes back and comes and creeps in on them because Curry and Clay have not been playing like who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't exploded. Like usually those guys will explode for like 6 threes or 7 threes or 8 threes, and we haven't seen none of that. It's just literally been KD, help me, bail me out. You know, here's the ball, make a play for me. Everybody's been just bricking and sitting around and watching them. So as soon as those two explode, this should be over. It should be a wrap.
They could heat up at any second.
And
I see where you're coming from.
And it only takes a little bit to get them going.
I see where you're coming from. I'm mainly saying that I don't think it's set in stone the way everybody thought it was. And I'm not going to lie. I thought the Rockets had less of a chance. But the thing that's helping them is because even though they're not that deep, they're way deeper than the Warriors this year. Actually,
They are.
They still got
Without a
Gerald Green. They still got PJ. They still even then they blocked a few key shots off the. And this is underrated. Like they're tougher. They're tougher than the Warriors. Like that's what I noticed right off the
Warriors
bat.
have never been known for
That's what I'm
toughness.
saying.
Never.
Like they're tougher. Like even though James Harden's not necessarily known for his toughness, he's still physical. The way he grinds on you on offense and draws contact. And then PJ Tucker, Chris Paul, they're scrappier. And I just think that might come back to bite them.
And that's another thing too. Like James Harden, we all know he's due for one of those meltdown games. I don't see him keeping up this level of play.
He's played great the
last 2 games.
He's shooting 44%.
He's been playing great.
39.
I don't see him keeping that up.
But you also, the same way, and I agree with you to a certain extent, and I definitely agree with you about Clay and Steph being due for a breakout game. But CP3 is too. He played well last game, but he didn't play like a vintage CP3. When CP3 starts helping Eric and James, they're gonna be dangerous.
Yeah,
he hasn't had that vintage like 22 and 8 and 6 game. Like he hasn't had that vintage.
But that's what I'm saying. If even if he does that, those
they're hard to beat when he does that.
They are, but those 2 exploding is way more impactful than him.
Absolutely.
Than him exploding.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. As soon as those guys can get their engine going on from the 3-point line, like they're known for doing, it should be a wrap. Because Kevin Durant's not going to go down. He's going to keep killing you on the score.
He's been the only sure thing for them.
And he's always going to be that. So as soon as those guys come and help, it should be over. The scary part is, are they going to do it? That's the scary part.
It is, especially because KD might not stay. I think that is messing with them to some level.
They better do it to get him to stay. Because if they lose second round, bye. He's not going to come back.
It would be a shock.
He's not going to come back, for a fact, if they lose second round. He'll definitely go somewhere else.
It's going to be something to keep an eye on. Get involved in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube at Wrestling with Things and like